A story that has flown a little bit under the radar because, let's face it, we're just a couple weeks out from the campaign now and crazy Trump stories are coming fast and furious every day. But late last week, on Friday, at a rally in Colorado, Donald Trump said what might be the most, least self-aware thing that he's ever said in his entire life. And before I tell you what he said, let me remind you all that Donald Trump is a convicted felon. He was found guilty back in May of 34 felonies in New York. And he is still awaiting at least 2 criminal trials, the January 6th trial and the Georgia trial, and possibly could still stand trial in Florida for the stolen federal documents if that case gets reinstated. Now, he is awaiting his criminal sentencing that's going to come towards the end of November. All of that is to say, he's a convicted felon who could end up with even more felony convictions against him. And having said that, on Friday in Colorado, Donald Trump had the audacity to tell his audience that Vice President Kamala Harris is actually the criminal. Here's what he said. She's a criminal. She's a criminal. Because, he has to repeat himself. He can't ever just say one thing and move on. He has to repeat himself because that's how his brain works. She's a criminal. She's a criminal. She really is, if you think about it. Okay. Nope. Thought about it. She's not. In fact, she's actually never even been accused of a crime. She is, in fact, a former prosecutor. And I don't care if you love her policies or hate her policies, that's your personal opinion. However, calling somebody a criminal is not a personal opinion. That's a statement of fact. It is a statement of fact, by the way, that you can be sued for. And I know that from experience. A similar thing happened, by the way, many, many years ago with Ring of Fire. This was before I was hosting it. But in a segment, one of the hosts referred to Rick Scott, who was then the governor of Florida, as a criminal. We got a letter from Rick Scott's lawyers, a politician's lawyers, letting us know that, by the way, you cannot call somebody a criminal if they haven't been convicted of a crime. You have to retract and correct this, otherwise you will be sued. And we would have lost that lawsuit, but we did the correction, the retraction. So even if the person is a politician, of which the bar is very high for defamation and slander and libel, you can't call them a criminal. But he just did that. And wouldn't you know it, he did it twice in a row, right? So you can't even say it was an accident because you repeated yourself. So she could sue him. She won't. I think she should, just personally, but that's me. But the convicted felon is trying to convince you that the former prosecutor is the actual criminal here. And there could be a reason why Donald Trump is going down this path. According to NYU historian and professor Ruth Ben-Ghiat, Ruth says, quote, "This is out of the autocratic playbook. As autocrats consolidate their power once they're in office, anything that threatens their power or exposes their corruption or releases information that's harmful to them in any way becomes illegal." He's actually rehearsing, in a sense, what he would be doing as head of state, which is what Orbán does, Modi is doing, Putin has long done. Just as there's a divide now because of this brainwashing about who is a patriot and who is a criminal about January 6th, right? In the same way, telling the truth in any area, journalists, scientists, even people like me, anybody who is engaged in objective inquiry, prosecutors, of course, they become criminal elements and they need to be shut down. So the reason Donald Trump is on this warpath right now, painting all of his enemies as criminals, which he's done with Harris, he's done it with Biden, he has done it with other Democrats like Adam Schiff, he has done it with CBS, with ABC, they're all criminals. He's doing it to prepare his base for him coming after these people and many more if he makes it back into the White House, in spite of the fact that none of these people have committed any crimes, and he is the one who, again, is actually a convicted felon who is currently out on bail and awaiting his criminal sentencing. Well, folks, we have crossed that 1 million subscriber milestone, but rest assured, we are just getting started here at Ring of Fire. So if you're not already, please do subscribe to the channel and make sure to like, share, and comment on the videos.